goat boy. Chill out before you burn yourself.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Kill James Bond. I am Alice Caldwell-Kelly. Joining me, as always, are Abigail Thorne and Devon. And we're joined by returning champion Shannon Strucci. How's it going?
I'm so excited to be back.
You got us to see the Castle of Cagliostro, another Lupin movie.
A much better one, I think. Not to just shit on the first, but I think, like, objectively.
This is like Hayao Miyazaki's first feature film, right?
That's right.
Like 1979. And I guess we can just get straight into it. If you're not familiar with the character of the franchise of Lupin III, go back and listen to our previous episode where Lupin meets Hitler, and just get familiar that way.
Yeah, I was sad that this film didn't feature Adolf Hitler, who's one of my favorite side characters in the Lupin III franchise.
Right.
You're talking about Adolf Hitler.
Don't worry, listeners, about continuity, because the continuity of Lupin III is a little bit kind of... Yeah, it's kind of vague and all over the place. But we have Shannon on, because Shannon is one of the world's foremost Lupin III scholars.
From the Institute of Advanced Lupin III Studies.
Yes.
At Boston University side program they have.
And the dub that we listened to for this is not the original, because the original that came out in 1992 was apparently not good. What we got was the Manga Entertainment dub, which has none other than David Hayter as...
That's right, baby.
As Lupin, which means I can only hear him as Solid Snake. I can only hear him as Solid Snake. So I will be referring to him as Solid Snake the whole time.
But we did watch the dubs rather than the subs because, listeners, as you know, this is a podcast that refuses to go entirely Japanese.
That's right.
That's right. And also because we have to do drops. And if I just do the drops in Japanese, then they're not very satisfying unless you speak Japanese. But, so Solid Snake, we begin with him and his friend Jigen robbing a casino in Monte Carlo. Yeah,
The
boys on
lads.
tour. The lads, the fellas. And... let me tell you, this is like whip crack fast in terms of what it sets out in the opening. It is, they rob the casino in 2 shots.
The casino is robbed when the movie starts. They're just leaving.
They escape in a shitty little yellow car.
Yes, the silly little Fiat 500. Everybody's like, anytime anyone's in it, their knees are pressed right up against their chest because it's so small. It's perfect.
And they've sabotaged all the henchmen's cars.
Yeah, we see what kind of thief Lupin is because he has fixed it so that when the henchmen try to chase them, all of the wheels come off of their cars, and he's left a note for them taunting
He's left
them.
little notes. That must have taken forever to go car by car and set up.
But we see later he has like a full-on calling card, and he really invests a lot in his graphic design and his like penmanship and stuff. But so they rob this casino, and then they realize that the proceeds are goat bills, which are a form of fake currency. They're counterfeit cash.
That's right. They're counterfeits so good that they've fooled the government, and for that reason they're worthless, and they decide to dump it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like if the government accepts it, that's real money, baby.
Yeah, that's money.
Yeah.
That's legal tender.
Yeah. But also Lupin's like, we should go in the source of these fake bills and then we'll be rich. And I'm like, but then all you're gonna get is more fake bills, man.
But they
what? What are you doing, dog?
You don't spend the fake bills, you manufacture and sell them. You can't get high on your own supply.
That's true. So we get some beautiful opening titles, like really visually arresting. But then Jigen and Lupin have to infiltrate the micronation of Cagliostro.
It's San Marino.
It's San Marino by way of Luxembourg, in that it's got a Grand Duke. It's got like 3,000 people in it.
Also, when we say the opening titles are beautiful, listeners, this film, I think, as we mentioned, was Hayao Miyazaki's first cinematic release. Hayao Miyazaki's the guy behind Studio Ghibli, if you know them. So that's why this film looks really, really beautiful. That's kind of one of the only things it has going for it.
Oh,
we'll get into.
Gorgeous. Yeah, there's a lot of Ghibli DNA in it.
Yeah,
Namely,
you can see all of the influences that it's had.
And the problems, yes.
yes.
So in disguise, they infiltrate Cagliostro. Jigen is dressed as podcaster Justin Rosniak at the border. So they infiltrate the country and they just go for a nice drive in the countryside. And we get this beautiful shot of them in the shitty little Fiat with the ashtray overflowing. The entire back of the car is filled with cup noodles and tinned fish. And it's really nice. These are all of the strongest parts of the movie.
Yeah, it's all the little things that really sell. But not only are these two great friends, but they've been doing this for ages and ages, because there's so many tiny things. Like the entire way through the opening titles, it's like little vignettes of them like camping and like making food. And then when the car breaks down, they both wordlessly and immediately start playing rock, paper, scissors to decide who was going to fix the car. And it's so well done, because obviously you have to introduce the audience to these characters as quickly as possible, and it's really good at doing that.
So
Really
that they can
sells
then
it.
spend the rest of the film like fucking around. This is the thing with Studio Ghibli movies, is they all start really, really strongly, but then because they're about the visuals rather than the story, they fade out. So it's always just like, a warrior goes to a mining town on the edge of an enchanted wood where spirits of
Yes, Spirited Away in particular is a movie
yeah.
that I
A
really
young
enjoy
girl gets
seeing.
transported to a magical world of spirits where she has to.
The guy shows up, he gets really big, and then they wash him, and then he's their friend again. And
They gotta watch the guy.
they gotta wash the guy.
A young girl becomes the housekeeper to a wizard in a moving castle that says, "Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
I wanted to say too in the intro, I saw this. Been watching this movie like since I was a teenager, probably since I was like 14 was the first time I saw it. When they're driving at the beginning with all the counterfeit money in the car, if you look closely, Goemon is just in the back seat covered in money. You can see just like a little bit of the back of his head.
You see that?
Yeah. Like you can't notice. It's really hard to notice, but he's just like covered in money, and you can see the back. Like there are so many little details like that in this movie. It's so funny. The first time I saw that, I was like, "Oh my god!" They just buried him and left.
Because one of the cars, when they escape Monaco, it just like falls perfectly in half, and I was like, "Well, that's a Goemon thing," but I don't see the guy at all.
We should reintroduce Lupin's boys here.
Yeah.
He has two main guys. Jigen, whose vibe is, how do we describe Jigen's vibe other than being very good at shooting things?
He's gay.
James Coburn in The Magnificent Seven.
Yeah,
His
surly.
character is based on.
His, like hats real down. He's like always smoking right up to the filter.
His reputation as a misogynist is legendary.
That's right. Yes.
As one of the dub lines has it.
And
Firm bachelor. Yeah.
yeah, and Goemon is, well, a samurai who's just around, just along for the ride. Anyway,
Yeah, he has a sword that can cut through anything. And
Yeah.
as we remember from the film Lupin III, the first, his Zentaskin is a Ryo Seiken, that memorable phrase that we all know what it
I recall
means.
this. I was like, oh shit.
I was so happy this movie had a good dub that I was like, I like this dub. The dub of the first, I was like, okay, we can watch that, I guess, if we need to.
So 6 minutes and 12 seconds in, and the movie has to do the thing, because we're starting out strong. The thing of every Lupin movie, which is the silly little car goes fast piano music thing.
Yes.
Because we see a woman in a wedding dress drive past in a Citroen 2CV being pursued by goons.
Oh, perfect goon car.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we set off into a great chase scene where they try to shoot out the tires and that doesn't work, and they end up like driving up the side of a cliff. It's fantastic. It's just
Beautiful as well. It's so charmingly animated the way the car like jumps around.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
And so Lupin rescues this woman in the bridal dress. However, in the course of this, they both go over a cliff together, and we meet Clarice, who is not a character.
Clarice, yeah, just sort of present. It's a
gonna-
shame.
All she does in this movie is this noise for like an
Yeah.
hour. There is a decent proportion of this movie that is just, and I hate that convention of like girl noises, right? I hate it wherever it comes from. It was in fucking On Her Majesty's Secret Service. too.
That's right.
Where it's like, oh, you can't even be fucked to give this woman fucking dialogue. Instead, you just like, oh, just make some go.
She
Nothing.
does have a serious case of anime girl voice, and I'm emailing Clarice being like, "Yo,
Atrocious.
do you have any tips on voice training?" Because all of her lines are just like, "I'm the count, I'm possibly let you try and escape from the castle," and I'm like, "What?"
No,
Engage
you were like,
diaphragm.
you're like what? I'm like every time she's on screen and talking, I'm just like,
Shut up! Oh, come now.
Really, if you look up like the history of Moe, Clarice is kind of the reason, one of the reasons. Unfortunately,
Oh, the
there's a nasty
foundation.
history lesson. Like one of the like sort of progenitors or whatever of Moe culture, and Clarice and Lupin Dojins were pretty popular. She's 14.
Oh no!
I think she's definitely under in the original version. He calls the count a lolicon. Like she's definitely underage. Like
yeah.
and
I did not realize that. I was like, oh, I guess she's like 20s. Like
they might have changed it for the dub a little bit. She's definitely like a girl.
Oh yeah, no, she's
intended to
young.
be like underage.
So
Womp womp. So
again, every time behind the paywall we do pedophilia.
We're not even behind the paywall.
we're just observing
Yes, we
pedophilia.
are.
No, it's the
No, we're
fucking
not.
banquet of
No,
forgiveness.
we're not.
The shit goes out. Fuck. Hang on, wait. Let's see if I have. I feel like I even have the pedophilia drop. Give me 1 second, yeah.
I don't know why it is that whenever we're behind the paywall, we always do accidental pedophilia.
This is, of course, from Alex Rider Stormbreaker.
Oh yeah. So Lupin gets knocked unconscious, and in the course of this, Clarice like mops his brow with a handkerchief and smuggles her wedding ring, her engagement ring, I guess, into this and leaves it with him. And he instantly makes the signal on it. It's like a heraldic ram. But he kind of like gives out that he does not know what it is.
She gets recaptured.
Yeah, she gets recaptured, and Lupin and Jigen are left to like pick up the pieces and go and find. Well, first they find the Grand Ducal Palace, which is in ruins.
One or two notes, yeah. The first one is phenomenal crank foley when he's lowering himself down. It's just like one of the most perfect hand crank noises I've ever heard in my life.
The sound design in this is really good.
Hand crank. The Duchy of Cagliostro is approximately 70% lake.
Yes.
By weight.
It's mostly
That's fine.
lake,
It's
and
cool.
the rest of it is like Alp. It's very
Yes.
evocative,
And like a truly incredible castle. Like,
That's Ghibli, baby. It's a castle that's fucked up. It's perfect.
Yeah, we see because this is what fiction is. It's about castles that are fucked up, and
that
we
was
see
the original English title, was The Castle That's Fucked Up.
Castle in the sky, moving castle is fucked up, castle doctrine. It's perfect.
we see two castles that are fucked up in quick succession. We see the
Crazy.
burned out Grand Duke's castle, where it's like, oh, the Duke and the Duchess died in a fire years ago, leaving only their daughter behind, who went off to a convent, and this is not foreshadowing at all. And then immediately over the next, like cresting a hill, like fucking two
That's right.
forts, is the second more fucked up castle, the Castle of Cagliostro.
Yeah, why'd you put them next to each other, man?
It's not a
That's
huge country.
It's a tiny country, yeah. Yeah.
little baby country. I love that guy, the exposition man walking by with a ladder for no reason.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
I
rules.
rewatched this movie. He's like, "Hello, let me explain our history to you
Pretty
as I
much.
make my rounds as an NPC here."
Pretty much every character in this is exposition guy at one point or another.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they find this old guy who's groundskeeper in the burned down palace, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I've seen a movie before. This is quite clearly
this
like
is the
Duke.
Skyfall guy.
This is the Duke. He's not really dead. Like he's her father, and it's gonna be. And then the end of the movie is like, nope.
No, that guy actually just was the groundkeeper. Yeah, he's just stood
Just
outside
hanging
the burned
out.
down castle with like an exclamation point over his head, and Lupin goes and
Hello,
gets.
traveler.
At one point, Jigen's like, the Grand Duke died, right? He's your king. So who runs this place? And he just goes, there's a regent, and then leaves.
yeah, it's like don't worry about it.
There's a regent. He's 20 foot that way. Go see him.
So Castle Cagliostro is like Neuschwanstein, but in a lake and with an aqueduct on either
Oh,
side
it's
of
really
it.
good.
It's a real fairy tale castle. It's got the very pointy roofs and everything.
And Lupin tried to break in 10 years ago and got owned. Apparently.
Yes, yeah, but he's still
Rick.
lying. He's still like, I don't know what's going on. And what happens at this point, I do appreciate, is Jigen just puts him in arm jail. He just
Jigen checks in with his homies, and he checks in through the expedient of sitting down next to him and then putting him in a headlock and going, "What's wrong, bud? Come on."
You are lying to me. Stop lying to me. We are friends. Explain what.
He checks in on his blokes.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah. And so Lupin explains that he tried to rob the place 10 years earlier.
Yeah.
He
He
got
got
owned.
his shit,
He got owned. He
wrecked.
got his shit kicked in. We see this later. He got Jason Bourne. Like,
He did.
he got shot in the back a couple of times and then fell into a body of water.
Like weird arrows.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's right.
'cause- yeah.
He got Jason Bourne.
He got Jason Bourne. That's
so-
the best of us.
At this point, they go to get a room. They get to the inn where Lupin immediately pervs on the waitress while she's doing exposition. She's like, "Oh yeah, I bet you're here for the wedding between Clarice and the Count of Cagliostro, who's a notorious playboy." And Lupin goes,
The Count's got a reputation as a playboy.
Playboy. Just like me. Now, how about a smooch, huh?
At least she's into it.
It's
She
played off
looks
charmingly.
17.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
You
she seems
see? Where
quite
are
young.
you getting this?
It's not good. It's truly not good.
Like compared to most Lupin stuff where he is just like a psycho like rapist.
Yeah.
It's Miyazaki's version. He can only tone it down so much, I guess.
That's the thing. It's weird because I'm not.
The studio's gonna complain if he's not at least a bit noncy. You have to have something in
It's
there.
tradition. I mean, here's the thing, right? Their vibe on Lupin, I don't think they really figured out quite what it was, because in a lot of ways, it's more PG than any other Lupin thing.
Yes.
He's much more chivalrous. He's much more altruistic. He barely steals anything.
Fujiko's breasts are like the size of breasts,
Yeah, they've nerfed Fujiko. It's bullshit.
rather than like her head.
Not watermelons.
But but he's still, still a bit like this. Anyway, so
Well, we also see that the Count is a bad guy. He's holding Clarice prisoner. He realizes that her ring is gone.
the way that he's introduced is so fucking good.
Sick nasty, I'm
Bond
sorry.
villain shit.
He gets out of his auto gyro, and at one point, Jigen literally goes,
Ghibli.
"Yeah, I didn't know anyone still flew auto gyros." And it's like, yeah, no, this guy does. That's his vibe.
Welcome to Japan, Dad. Yeah,
That's right.
that's another bit of Ghibli DNA. Is a funny little flying vehicle. So it's good to see that that's near too.
He's a funny little boat too. But so
does.
he's getting out and he's being briefed by his evil butler, and he's also being undressed by
Joe.
him. And at no point during this does he stop walking.
He's just
he, like-
slightly above walking pace as well. It's so rude to Jodo.
He gets his trousers taken off him, and he doesn't break stride doing this. It's incredible. But so I guess we should talk about the Count too. The Count's vibe
Yes.
is sort of smug.jpg. Like
He spends approximately like 90% of his screen time just walking menacingly, slightly above an average walking pace to various locations in the castle.
yes. Yeah.
Also, his plan makes no
He's got
fucking
no-
sense.
It's just he's an evil European, so he needs to do incest.
That's
That's true.
And get rich.
That's true.
That's the plot of the movie. He's
That's
just
it, baby.
incest count.
While he's on his way to go visit Clarice, he passes by a single other female character, which at this point, if you're familiar with this, you'll go, that's Fujiko.
That's Fujiko Mine.
Fujiko in
Yes.
disguise.
Dressed as a librarian.
They've held on this character for slightly too long.
Woman detected.
Oh, I think I have a drop for this. Hold on.
A woman?
Why do we both have soundboards?
We both pulled the same.
A woman?
So we have our first conversation, which is entirely based on evil laughter versus woman noise. Where we come to understand that the plot that's happening here is that she is being married to Count Cagliostro against her will in order to unite the two houses of Cagliostro and retrieve a great treasure, right?
Which, I mean, okay, so also he needs her ring for
Yes.
some reason, but doesn't I'm like, you could have got that. Why do you need to marry her to get the ring? Is my first question. Secondly, what is the treasure? Thirdly,
Unclear.
aren't you the head of state and also like have an infinite supply of fake money because you print? It's like, what treasure do you need? Like, what? None of it makes sense.
I wrote down at this point the treasure's going to be some like a bullshit metaphor, isn't it? And I was right.
Nope. It's just a random thing.
Yeah, yeah. So.
Yeah, it's unclear what he's gonna do when he gets the ring. Because he could just take it off her finger at any point.
Yeah,
like I said, he's an evil European. He wants to do incest.
That's true.
He's just like there's something like fundamentally like disgusting and evil about the character.
But he doesn't even
It's
do
his
that.
entire character.
Say there's something fundamentally disgusting and evil about Europeans.
That's
and I don't
right.
disagree.
And you're right to say it.
In anime, there is.
That's right.
So we've detected you're listening to a free bonus episode for the Banquet of Forgiveness on Kill James Bond. Now, this might be good for now, but next month, these are going to go back to being paid only. So if you want to keep listening to bonus episodes, you're going to have to head on down to Kill James Bond Patreon, patreon.com/KillJamesBond, and sign up now for like £5 a month. It's a pretty good deal, Soap. Now fucking kiss me, you little beautiful boy.
So Lupin and Jigen have gone to bed, and at this point, their room is infiltrated by ninja. Sort of.
European ninja.
Ninja brackets Italian.
One's making, I guess, explosives in the hotel room. He's got his little like beakers out, his little glasses.
And so they fight them, but they're wearing armor. The ninja are. And so they're unable to like be shot or be beaten. But so far the vibe here is still like romp, right? Like
there's no like threat, right?
No.
Other than the Count himself being like a little rapey.
When the ninja come in, like both of them are like, I thought it was gonna be boring. This is fun. This is a good time now. And they escape. At this point, we have to drag in the other characters.
That's right, baby. Someone sends a fucking signal flare up and the two boys arrive. And I hooted and hollered when I saw them.
boy number one, Goemon.
Yeah.
Who is he is present. He doesn't like understand why Lupin is like interested in
a woman.
But he's he's here anyway. And also Inspector Zenigata, our boy. We get to a problem that I have with this movie, which is everybody talks in exposition. And so Lupin, a guy who has been like this guy's nemesis for both of their working lives, looks at a guy that he knows very well through a telescope and says to no one,
Good old Zenigata. Devoted archetypal Japanese worker.
I'm always describing my friends, is the thing.
Yeah, I've always done
absolutely.
that. I'm always like, there's Alice, transgender podcaster.
That's right, yeah.
There's Devon.
They got Gundams, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, we see that the Count is responsible for all the fake money. He's got a printing press in the basement. He prints the fake money.
Which, why?
Yeah, you'd think you're the head of state, dude. You can, like, all the money that you print is fake. That's how currency works, whatever.
He has infinite money.
The shot where Goemon and Zenigata arrive is baffling but fantastic. Because it's like pissing it down with rain. There is a horse-drawn like cart arriving. It's like a covered cart full of barrels, and Goemon is sat on the back of it, and just passing him is a police car. And I see both of these things, and I go, "Woohoo!" When I saw Goemon, I hooted like an owl, and when I saw Zenigata, I honked like a goose. Like I was just like, "Let's go, baby! It's the boys."
We should also talk about Jigen's sort of response, his problem-solving thing here, which is, upon being confronted with an enemy wearing a light suit of armor, he is immediately escalated to bringing an anti-tank rifle.
Where did you get that, man?
It's like 12 feet long.
He does this twice during like the fucking opening car chase. He shoots at the tire and it doesn't go out, and then loads a larger bullet in. Now this time he shoots this guy, it doesn't kill him, and he's like, "Get the fucking anti-tank gun."
Where was he keeping this? In the tiny car?
He spends the rest of the movie holding this gun, but it's like his height.
Yeah, he's so pleased with it. Like,
He loves
He
it.
does do he's on a zip line at one point carrying it, right? This giant gun.
So we see Zenigata go in and sort of generally make a nuisance of himself in the way that we've come to expect, which is poke around looking for Lupin, uncover a bunch of the countermeasures to Lupin, which are like lasers and shit.
Oh, also, the reason Zenigata is here is because Lupin sent a calling card to the Count saying, "Hello, I'm the famous thief Lupin III, and I'm going to steal your bread."
He loves to do it.
He does, but this is a tactic on his part.
Yeah, he's trying to summon Zenigata with this.
Yeah, he's like setting his enemies against each other. We also see that Cagliostro and his goon, his chief goon, who's just a big German dude.
Yes, Gustav, yes.
Gustav does not want Zenigata there. He also is racist towards him.
Extremely racist. Poor Zenigata in this movie.
Gustav literally calls him an Oriental, and then Zenigata says, "Right, you are," and salutes him. It's fucking such a little piss.
That's not even like a dub thing. That's in the subtitles for the original as well. Like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so Zenigata's like, all right, let me look around, and Count Cagliostro is like, no, we've got huge dudes here. And then a huge dude arrives. He shows him around, and then when Gustav leaves, a second huge dude arrives. But this guy's on Zenigata's side, and I wrote, all these dudes are so big, I'm like a kid in a candy shop.
It's a big day for big shoulder muscles.
It's a big day for dudes.
Every day in my house, baby.
Let's go.
So, we see Lupin and Jigen try to infiltrate through the aqueduct. They have to like swim in.
That's fine. That's cute.
Yeah. And Lupin gets washed away, and he has to get like swept up through a big series of clockwork cogs. I thought it was like an allusion to Modern Times, the Charlie Chaplin movie, but I could be wrong. But he has to like sort of platform his way through all of these.
And Zenigata just senses that he's there.
Yeah, he
for
senses
no
his
reason.
presence.
It's like he's like looking, he's eating ramen noodles, and he's like, wait, and he walks over and almost catches him.
He notices
Smells
that
something.
the windmill has slowed down and is like, what's that windmill do? And like, it raises water into the castle, and he's like, where's it go? There's a guy in there. I know for a fact my man is in there.
He gets pulled away at the
really
last second.
shows you that, my God, these guys have been doing this for like decades.
It's really
Yeah.
good. That's like one of the things that I like that it shows rather than tells, is that this is sort of like late career Lupin. He's been at it for a while. Everybody's sick of
canonically, he's been doing
everybody's
it
shit.
10 years.
Yeah.
That's what he says in the film.
But so Zenigata gets pulled away by a phone call because Count Cagliostro is trying to use political pressure to pull Interpol off the case. He wants Lupin to come to him, bring him the ring back, and then he's going to kill him and take the rings and pull off the marriage.
The
right?
case here, of course, being nothing. The
Yes.
case being, I have received a piece of paper that says Lupin on it. And the full might of the Japanese police have arrived to deal with this.
So Lupin disguises himself as Zenigata, a thing that he loves to do.
He does
He
it all the time.
They don't let Zenigata back into the castle, and he leaves in a huff. And then Lupin, disguised as Zenigata, shows up and goes, "Oh, was I just here? That was Lupin.
That was
Idiots.
Lupin!
Fantastic. He loves this bit. He loves to do it."
It's his favorite thing in the world.
Yeah.
There's some cute shots of Lupin just with the eyelashes, too. For some reason, he like takes part of the mask off, but he's got his eyelashes.
What's really funny is that like we get to one of my favorite phenomena here, which is cops are a compressible fluid.
Yes. They do this so well.
Yeah, and so what will happen is you have a staircase, and a sort of a fluid of big German dudes will come down it, and a fluid of Japanese cops will come up it, and they will just meet, and it's perfect. Usually
Some of them
Zenigata's
died,
in the middle.
I bet.
Oh, 100%.
There's like dead bodies on the stairs.
It's just like a globule of violence halfway up the staircase.
And Lupin's cackling and running.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's ideal.
And then we see the real Zenigata gets dropped through a trapdoor that takes a Polaroid of you as you're falling down it, which is so good.
That's such a flex to be like, "Oh, you've fallen into my trap, and now I also have a keepsake of the moment when you got owned."
Like Cagliostro just has like a board where he puts all the photos of his enemies getting fucking owned.
Like, canonically, this has happened dozens, if not hundreds of times. And he just has those.
Like Tiger Tanaka did.
Yeah.
It's great.
So Lupin then
Tiger did.
infiltrates the like hermetically sealed tower where Clarice is being kept.
Oh, he also finds Fujiko.
Yeah, there's a bit just prior where after Zenigata has fallen down, Lupin is like clinging to the roof via Lupin physics, which he does a lot in the next couple of minutes. And like Johto, is that the guy's name? This fucked
the
up.
butler.
Yeah, the eagle
Johto.
motherfucker.
Yeah, this Igor looking ass guy, this Igor situation. He rolls on in, and like we see him turn the head of the statue to sort of deactivate the trap, and then go down after Gustav to be like, "You have been bamboozled, my friend. You have been thrown into a
he
loop."
gets bamboozled in his turn.
And Gustav, he goes down there, and like the violence is sort of like in the late party era where like most people are sat down. There's a bit of violence still happening, but not really. Gustav is holding two dudes, one on a shoulder and one under his other arm, and he's just receiving instruction from Johto. He's like, "You fool, you've been tricked," and he's just holding two guys like, "Yes, sir, sorry." And then immediately they also get down the trapdoor.
They get owned. It's great.
Fucking sick.
So Lupin has to like parkour up, and there's the fun scene with like the really like intensely pointed roofs where he's fucking having to like try and slide over these. But he makes his way over into the tower where Clarice is, and we get a conversation which is undercut on two levels. One by the voice acting, and two by the music. Right, where he's like, "I'm gonna rescue you. I'm a thief. You should like trust in me because I'm gonna get you out." And she goes like, "This is unedited audio."
You don't know about the terrible secrets of the Cagliostro family. I'll never be able to escape the Count.
What?
It's it's very. I mean, it's twee.
It's twee.
And I mean that.
Yeah, it's doing like because Lupin's like, "I'm rescuing a princess from a tower. Like, I'm a thief. You don't have to marry the bad guy." Like
this is late career Lupin. He's no longer horny. He's just like
Volcel now,
earnestly dashing at this point.
Volcel.
He's Volcel. Good for well, he's Volcel because his true love Fujiko is of course also in the castle and refusing to talk to him.
Yes.
Which is cool.
I would too. I would be done with him at a certain point in my life.
Yeah. So
like 10 years of this shit.
Yeah, I'm tired.
So he does a little magic trick for her. He gives her a rose, and then he immediately gets confronted by the goons and drop down a second trapdoor. My guy loves trapdoors.
the
Loves
Count
them.
turns up and he's like, well, he explains his plan again, but this never comes back. He's like, "I'm sick of serving the Duke's family. I'm going to unite the two houses and get the treasure." And I'm like, none of this ever comes. Yeah. Did you?
What Duke's
I don't
family?
know.
You mean Clarissa? She's right there. That's the only
What do
one
you mean
left.
serving? You're head of state. Like, what? Whatever.
The method through which he gets to the tower is phenomenal, which is just like an extending corridor that just sort of extends out of the castle over to the tower, which is, again, it's a very, very Ghibli.
The Count has a lot of bullshit.
He's got his whole castle. He's had nothing to do for like 20 years. And he's just made his castle.
He just wants to kill foreigners and do incest. He's got so many trapdoors to kill Japanese
That's
people
true.
and
Vladimir
Americans.
Nabokov has entered the chat.
So
He can't even like go into the garden or he'll get shot by his own lasers. Like, what does he do?
Crazy laser machines.
He flies his little arrow thingy.
So Lupin is like rather blasé about this. He's like, "It'll be fine, trust me." But he gets dumped down another trapdoor.
Because the ring that the Count retrieves, it's fake. Lupin still has the real one in his pocket.
Yes, because we see during the conversation that the ring has been switched, and the ring that Clarice is wearing is a radio transmitter that enables Lupin to just like taunt the Count a bit, which is great. That's fun. I appreciate that.
Got a little chicken head in it when it explodes. Little fuzzy chicken.
And then after it explodes on his finger, a full second afterwards, the Count is like, "This is fake."
He feels the need to say it out loud.
It's really
dear.
this movie. There's not a lot of subtext going on in these parts. This is the point at which the movie starts to drag.
Yeah, this is the point where the movie starts getting into this territory.
Yes. So Lupin gets dumped into the same catacombs as Zenigata was earlier.
Yes.
And wouldn't you know it, they're forced to make an uneasy truce.
Every time, baby.
Yeah. Don't even acknowledge it that like this is a recurring thing. They're just like, oh man, this is for the first time ever. We're gonna have to make an uneasy truce.
It seems that once again circumstances has forced us to make an uneasy truce, and at this point I've just written kiss
in order to save an underage girl.
I will say Cagliostro, more than other Lupin stuff, downplays the homoerotic subtext.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other like
sucks.
Fortunately, I'm
it's
here.
more
so.
like familial. Like Jigen's more brotherly, and Zenigata's more of his dad. Whereas in other stuff, it's just like really gay.
Yeah, and the dub he calls Zenigata old man a lot. Yeah. So at this point,
Pops.
Yeah,
there's Pops in the Jinyon dub.
So some more ninja try to.
It's cute. They should kiss.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying Miyazaki probably didn't.
Some more ninja try to kill them. Lupin does a classic hitman move of trying to take the guy's clothes.
He does do that. Yeah.
For no reason, because 5 seconds later he just jumps out and locks the butler in the fucking catacombs.
I feel like he drowned that dude, right?
Oh, he absolutely
His
drowns
pants
some guys.
come off and he
One
drowns
of the guys
dude.
is like, I can't swim, as he's being locked under a grate in neck-high water. And you're like, oh, okay, that guy's dead. Dead.
It's fine. He's fine. It's off screen. It doesn't count.
Yeah, that's true. So far, that's still what the tone is.
If you kill someone off screen, it's fine.
We'll get to
They're
this.
alive. Don't worry. Yeah.
They emerge into the Count's counterfeiting factory.
Yeah.
And like then we get like a weird bit where Lupin is like,
let me talk about the bit. Let me talk about the fucking bit, because Lupin goes, oh yeah, these are the goat bills. These are
this is fascinating, yeah.
Notorious imitation currency that silently brought about the upheavals of medieval Europe. It caused the collapse of the Bourbon dynasty, provided Napoleon with funding, and eventually triggered the Great Bank Panic of 1927.
And?
Goat bills were responsible for some of history's most influential and devastating events of the last 400 years.
And when he says that last bit, it is over a bit of footage from World War II.
I mean,
what?
That's fine.
The thing about doing a story about the hidden financial hand that controls all politics and which caused World War II is maybe you don't want to do that.
It's not a Jewish thing. You legally can't do a Lupin thing without mentioning Hitler at least once.
In the contract.
He's got to be in there.
It can be subtle.
Yeah.
You're contractually obligated Hitler.
Napoleon and Hitler. Napoleon's also in.
Napoleon is also.
Yeah, it's just like, is the implication that like Hitler used fake currency to pay for rearmament? Like
I don't know
that's
what
an
the
interesting
implication is.
Like, also, how did this cause the bank?
There's no implication. It comes and goes like fucking wind. I wouldn't even worry.
Yeah, also, this never comes up.
Everyone's forgotten it by the next sentence.
Lupin's just a history nerd, and he's info dumping to Zenigata excitedly
But also,
about
like,
the money.
why?
I don't know.
There is a cute bit when they do the sort of like uneasy truce thing where Lupin goes like, "Oh, do you want to shake hands on it?" And Zenigata's like, "Don't push your luck." I really appreciated that.
It looks like he's going to, but then he's like, "No, I'm not humoring this."
No. So Fujiko, having had one conversation with Lupin where she's figured out what his deal is, immediately activates Fujiko mode. And Fujiko
mode
consists
like
of
the whole camo outfit.
Yeah, she goes in to visit Clarice in her like lady in waiting outfit. Unzips that shit to reveal full combat outfit with guns and grenades.
Full camo onesie. She's got grenades.
It's fucking sick. She also gives this massive info dump about who she is to Clarice. Is just like, Lupin and I have been working together for years. Sometimes as friends, sometimes as enemies, sometimes we're even lovers. And I'm like, cool, great.
You're like, oh yeah.
This girl's 14 and has PTSD. Could you just like get her out? Stop
And all
it.
she can say is,
So, yeah.
this girl's like, who the fuck are these people who keep turning up in my house?
This is the most bored girl on earth, and then people just keep showing up in her room and being like, "My name is Fujiko. I know Lupin.
Here's my deal." Yeah.
Yeah, it's my deal. This is what's happening in the movie. She asks if Lupin like broke up with her, and Fujiko replies that she left him, which it genuinely appears to be like a huge turning point in Clarice's like mind. She's like, "Holy shit, women!
Yeah.
Women can be powerful," and I'm like, "Yes." And at this point,
Lupin hotboxes Castle Cagliostro.
he fucking does, yeah. Like, smoke starts coming out of every available pore in this castle, and when it has already like reached the fucking upper ionosphere, it cuts to Goemon, who goes, "Something's happening." And you're like, "Yeah, man, yeah, catch up, brother."
We also see, like, legendarily slow reaction time Count Cagliostro, who, as the smoke is billowing in through his door, is like, holy shit, is that a fire?
Oh yeah, he's in bed with like 30 servants in his room
He's fully in
in a
bed,
row.
going,
I was like, what's going on in there before we cut in? Weird.
like a silk
But-
robe.
How
Oh.
many people do you need to tuck you in, man?
So, what they're doing is they're burning the printing presses and the counterfeit currency. And so they make their way up to the tower by virtue of kicking a bunch of guys.
Yeah, they run up and there's some music, and allow me to say,
Banger.
it's phenomenal.
Samba Temperato.
The whole
is the name
soundtrack
of the
is so
song.
good. I don't know.
Yuji Ono's music is awesome.
So far, the violence has been guy gets kicked in the face, guy falls out of a thing, off screen, maybe a guy is drowned. Fujiko escalates to murder one. Drop of a hat, she is ready to rock and roll because some guards try to come in the tower and she's like, okay, fine, I'll just fucking
Like, comparative, right? If Lupin was in a situation, the door opens and a bunch of guys come in, he would simply say the words, "Oh, now it's getting interesting." Whereas the door opens and Fujiko opens fire with like a fucking submachine gun.
From the hip, like,
Different techniques, different vibes,
I
really.
love her. I love
we
Fujiko.
see this guy in a butler's uniform just get fucking, like, taken out.
They're not even like the ninjas, they're just dudes.
Imagine if you work in Castle Cagliostro and you're just kind of getting used to the new vibe, which is, oh, there's going to be some capers. I might get kicked over by a thief, right? And then you fucking go into a room and you see your friend get shot in the fucking face in
By a
front
woman
of
you know.
Yeah.
She must have known all of those people. She must have been in the fucking break room at Castle
Yeah.
Cagliostro, like
She's having
seeing
fun, too.
photos
She
of their
enjoys it.
kids, and she's just like, instantly, the second she's fucking Xenia on a top mode at Seven Aya control station,
She has
she's
fucking grenades.
She is so much more dangerous than the situation calls for. Like, there is a point when they're trying to like break the window because Zenigata and Lupin steal the fucking the funny little
gyro.
flying
the
vehicle.
gyro, yeah.
And they head on up there and they can't like break the glass. It's bulletproof. It's chair-proof, question mark. And like she pulls a grenade standing in front of this fucking windowsill, and instead of putting it on the windowsill, just underarm tosses it a little arc onto it. And I'm like, that's so fucking dangerous. It's a grenade could roll.
And then afterwards she goes, grenade-proof figures.
What?
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Why would it need to be grenade proof? What is Clarice packing?
So we are
Go on, sorry.
we're on the precipice of rescuing Clarice here.
That's right.
And in the course of this, as he's about to rescue her, Lupin gets fucking shot in the chest. He gets shot in the back.
Gets owned again.
Well, here's
By a
the thing.
very high caliber weapon.
Oh,
Yeah.
truly.
Well, like now that Fujiko has sort of escalated things, the tone sort of goes a bit wonky, right? Because Lupin gets shot. Clarice tries to cover him with her body, and she's like, if you spare his life, I'll marry you, I'll give you the ring. And we see Count Cagliostro like lie to her face, and he's like, yeah, okay, kill her. And fucking Joso, the butler, is pointing a fucking MG42 at them like it's the Battle of the Ardennes.
It's because like fucking Cagliostro is just like, yeah, of course, I guarantee your safety if you just come over here and give me the ring. And Joto goes, shall I kill him, boss? And it's just like, in a minute, just calm down.
Yeah, just hold on a second.
Also, why is that gun mounted on the side of Clarice's tower? Like, what? Also, like, if all he wants is the ring and he's still willing to kill her, then why do any of this? Never mind.
We also get a gross line. Because, we got to remember that Fujiko is here, so the Count just goes,
Fujiko, I think I'll have to interrogate you later in my chambers.
Gross.
Ooh.
Do you know?
At least she's old enough.
At least she's a grown-up.
Yeah.
It's fake.
At least she can speak and not just say, ah.
So, with Lupin incapacitated, the Count gets the ring from Clarice. She, goes willingly, but in the course of doing that, allows the others to escape on the autogyro.
Yes.
Which is on fire at this point, right?
Oh, yes.
Zenigata does not know how to fly it. He's just screaming.
It lands in the backyard, I guess, of beard guy from earlier, Exposition Man.
Yes. It crashed in a tree. Lupin is flying through the air completely unconscious, and for
On fire.
conceivably no reason, Goemon uses his sword to cut all of his clothes off midair, and then just sort of goes, well, that was a waste of my time, wasn't it?
It's like fucking Zorro.
Yeah, he is. It's sick.
Zenigata goes back to the UN to plead his case for this being an international counterfeiting ring.
That's right. There's a series of fantastic background
guys,
noises.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like when the guy with the British flag lapel pin goes,
We have a sticky wicket here.
It's so good. Yeah. And it cuts across to a guy with a French flag lapel pin. He goes, Sacre bleu. This is a conspiracy.
You can only work at the UN if you're a stereotype. That's how it works.
And the Soviet Union guy is he's so huge, he's bald. And
The Italian
Zenigata,
guy's like, Mamma mia.
Zenigata, of course, pleads to them. He says,
Let me bust this guy.
so of course I've got,
Let me bust.
Hey, you hog!
A woman?
Let me bust.
so a lot happens really in this movie.
yeah. But they won't let him do it because it's politically
They won't let him do it.
compromised. They won't let him bust. They won't let him bust because if he busts inside Cagliostro, then every country in the world will be implicated. And so they tell him to go off the case. And what we get next is punished Zenigata, which
We
I
get
really like.
plaintive Zenigata march, which is my favorite sound on the soundtrack.
So good.
He goes out past his detachment of dudes. And the big dude is like, yeah, when are we going, boss? And he's like, no, it's off. It's over. Don't even talk. I can't face it right now. It's perfect.
I was saying he just develops instant alcoholism when he
Yeah,
can't
he
face
starts-
Lupin. That happens a lot in the series. He'll just get drunk.
He starts smoking on the job too.
Yeah, he sadly walks into his office, and then after a 3-day time skip, we cut back to him, and he's just still there.
So we see that Lupin is convalescing. Jigen helpfully offers him some food.
Want some mush?
He's been out for 3 days. The wedding is now very close. An archbishop from the Vatican is coming to officiate, and he has to get back up to strength, which he tries to do by eating a lot of food. We also see that for some mysterious reason, the old dude's dog recognizes him and likes him, and the dog doesn't like anyone, and he knows the dog's name. And so what we finally get out of him is the truth of how he was Jason Bourne, which is he was sent to assassinate a Central African leader called Nkwanu Mbosi, who was about to write a book about... Sorry. Okay. He was a young thief. He tried to rob Castle Cagliostro. He got Jason Bourne, washed up on the shore, and 10 years ago, so I guess 4-year-old.
Yeah, toddler. Which is why I thought she was 20, because there's no way this fucking kid is...
She might be
less than
like
10,
6 or
right?
something.
Yeah.
She sees him
7 at
wounded,
best.
and she goes... and this forges like a bond for life, where Lupin is like, okay, I must protect this girl as my own child.
Shit is capital P platonic. Please, God, stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
So at this point, we need Fujiko to go and sort out some of the plot. So she just does that just off her own.
It's
bat.
nice of her to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, she tips off Zenigata. She's like, just come and be in the final. Come and be in the finale.
No,
She hacks a
criminal.
telephone line
Yeah.
instead of just using a phone like a normal person. This big wire.
From the back of a motorcycle too. But she calls Zenigata.
She spends 90% of her time on that motorcycle. There is a point where like she throws something through the window while Lupin is recovering, and Jigen finds it necessary to say out loud, "That's Fujiko's motorbike," as the sound of a motorbike fades away. Like, really?
The lads misdirect this archbishop, and obviously we've seen a film before, so we know that somebody's going to pose as an archbishop.
Yes.
Fujiko gets into the castle wedding by posing as a TV journalist, not wearing any kind of mask. You'd think they'd be like, I've seen your face, and also you're one of 2 women who exist, but whatever.
She's dressed as like girl reporter. She's dressed as like April O'Neil.
Yeah.
But also, I should point out, the vibe of the wedding here is RSVP for my spooky wedding, dress code spooky.
It's
I
so
want
dramatic.
my wedding to be like this. Is so good.
I also wrote that down. My wedding's gonna be about this dramatic. Yeah, the helmet that he's wearing, the cape that he is wearing.
He's
It's
doing
so
like
good.
Templar Dracula shit. It's so good.
Yeah.
He's got like 50 dudes in black KKK robes with swords, like being an honor guard. It's fucking sick.
Yeah, they're like penitenti. He's got like he's dressed in the fucking like household cavalry dress uniform Dracula would wear.
He looks like he's going to be in an opera. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a whole vibe here, because the thing is that his incest plan is to unite. They're both Cagliostros, and he's going to unite the dark and the light side of House Cagliostro in order to unveil this great treasure.
Because he's got a ring as well, and apparently when you put them together, treasure?
Yep, that's right. Why he didn't do this at any point previous? Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Why he has to marry her first? No idea.
The expedient through which they kidnap this priest, by the way, is that one of them approaches him dressed as elderly. Oh God, what's the
Might
name of
even
it?
be the old guy.
Help me.
Shepherd. He dresses as a shepherd. And he's like, will you bless this lamb?
Exposition. Yeah, no, he dresses as exposition guy. Walks out of the car. Is like, yo, is that the archbishop? Can you bless my lamb? And he goes, yeah, all right. No.
He goes, I have a flock of sheep.
Fuck off. Flock of sheep.
So anyway, the wedding says, like, do you speak now or forever hold your peace? And then Lupin, Goemon, and Jigen jump out dressed as ghouls.
That's right.
He's got fangs and he's a mummy.
He's got fangs.
What the nominal archbishop says at this point is,
Mamma mia, a ghost!
I also have
Mamma mia, a ghost!
I also have Mamma Mia, a ghost.
I should point out he's dressed in red. He's not a cardinal, he's an archbishop. He looks a lot like Santa, and he goes,
Mamma mia, a ghost!
Everyone is immediately fooled by the fucking obviously fake ghost Lupin, and it gets stabbed several dozen times, which of course does nothing, because Lupin is in disguise as the archbishop, where he like reveals himself with the truly baffling line I opened the episode with.
Goat boy, chill out before you burn yourself.
Hey, good boy, why not? What's up
He
with that?
steals the rings, and we
steals
get
the
the Lupin the
rings.
third theme, and he's like grapples out, and
Got fireworks. Jigen has
yeah.
a giant gun again, just firing into the wedding.
Yeah, he does.
Jigen opens fire on the wedding party.
He's got fangs. And
There's
he's
a
firing
bit
into the wedding.
right before this happens where Lupin goes, oh, wait a second, they drugged Clarice so that she couldn't speak, so she couldn't object. She doesn't fucking speak anyway. Why did you need to?
Yeah, they drugged her so she couldn't go, ah.
Yeah.
Speak now, forever hold your peace.
Fujiko shoots a ninja,
She does, yeah.
And then,
Oh yeah, she's got like a wrench, right? She's like hitting people.
She has two great things in this
She's
scene.
reporting.
She
rules.
immediately starts fighting, right? She's got a tearaway. She's got the camouflage outfit underneath her reporter outfit, and it's like one zip and pull, and that shit is just off, which I appreciate. And
She's wearing that
thing,
under all of her clothes at all times.
yeah. And the second thing I appreciate is that when it's time to like go mobile, she just grabs the microphone right down the cleavage, and it just holds it there while she's running. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
goals.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Lupin gets discovered, whips open his cape, and he's got a shitload of fireworks. And I wrote, look, to be fair, every mission starts off with good intentions, and then eventually you panic and just do an act of international terrorism. It's really easy to just accidentally fall into these kind of things.
Yeah.
So
it's during this time, Zenigata. Zenigata.
That's one of the reasons I love this dub, is this scene.
It's really good.
So funny.
You want to take
Zenigata, like, purely colluding with Fujiko, like, goes into the crypt with the fucking the counterfeit money presses and goes, "Oh my god, I have stumbled upon an unrelated criminal enterprise."
It's so good.
What should I do? Oh my god.
And then it
Live on TV!
We see back at the
to-
UN, one of them just goes,
Lord, he's a bad actor.
It cuts to the UN, who are all crowded around like a fucking tiny TV CRT.
yeah, they
They're
wheeled
like,
that in.
Fuck's sake. All right.
These are
Zenigata's like,
counterfeit.
he's like mugging at the camera like, oh my god, that's crazy. I came down here because I thought Lupin was in it. It's so good. Oh, I just love that guy, man.
They go back to the fucking big clock tower room.
Clock tower, baby. We've seen it in every single shot of the castle, like every wide shot.
That's right.
So it's time.
Like, Lupin carries Clarice up there because she has the anime girl power, which allows her to be unconscious at will and just has to be carried.
Need to learn how to do that.
Yeah, it's fully Metal Gear Solid 2 at this point. Just to fucking carry her around.
All right.
Maybe it's 3, whatever. Anyway, point is, the guys, like the goons, chase after the. One of them gets crushed in between two cogs.
Ears. Ugh.
The guy after him comes back down and he's like, yeah, that's not working.
He's like, no, that's a bust, man. We're not going up that way.
And Cagliostro goes, take the stairs.
My man sees Lupin go up there and is like, I'm following him, instantly gets aced, and Cagliostro's like, there's a staircase, man. Like, what are you doing? You know this
There's a
place.
lift, actually.
You work here. Like, what are you?
This set piece is unbelievable for like something that is pulled off entirely in like hand-drawn animation.
It's
cells.
so well animated.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
A Great Mouse Detective ripped it off and used CGI, I think, like very early CGI.
Cowardly.
It's so good.
But they
It's phenomenal.
fight with a wrench and a sword on top of the cogs in motion.
And in the background, all of the cogs are in motion. Like it's
incredible.
unbelievable. But eventually they manage to fight their way onto the hands of the clock on the massive clock tower, which is a classic place for a final confrontation to occur.
Sure.
39
39 steps, you name it.
Yeah, one of the all times. It happens in the end of Cars 2.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
They're in a clock tower in Cars 2 also.
Oh,
Unfortunate.
real fast. John Lasseter is like a Cagliostro obsessee. He's like, the first date I took my wife to was Cagliostro, and it's like one of my favorite movies.
Huh.
So, yeah. Well, I mean, he's like a reprehensible pervert, but
It's a perfect match then.
No wonder he likes it so much.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cagliostro's like, give me the rings. That's all I care about now. In
He's
this
given
scene.
up. He's like, all right, for fuck's sake, I'll just take the rings. I'm done with this.
I don't even want to do incest anymore. It's too much trouble.
Vladimir Nabokov has left the chat.
It's a high bar to get me, a European man, to not want to do incest, but you've successfully achieved it. I'm only animated by greed now. Give me the rings. He takes the rings. Clarice and Lupin end up diving into the lake
Yes.
He's got finger rockets.
He's got
Yeah,
finger
because
rockets.
because of his one ace up his sleeve, rocket fingers. Where he just
Rocket
shoots
fingers.
he shoots his fingers at Lupin. And he's got them on both hands too, because he threatens him with the second hand.
Yeah.
This movie
commitment.
is really threatening around like fingers and gauntlets, right? Because
That's
all
true.
of the ninjas are like holding their hands completely flat with these pointy ass gauntlets on and just going.
Yeah.
Spooky.
Everyone's got like amazing nails. It's
They're on like
beautiful.
mantis mode martial arts. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. So Cagliostro, he climbs up to the thing that's going to unveil the treasure. He puts the rings in. He activates the clock tower, which goes very, very fast. And in what is frankly an insanely gothic novel ass demise for an otherwise weirdly like PG movie, he is crushed bodily like an insect in between the two hands of the clock at
An
midnight.
audible squish.
Audible squish.
Squish.
It cuts to a wide shot, thankfully, but like you see him, he's like, oh shit, oh fuck, and it cuts to a wide shot, and then like just a single like pixel of red just goes. And you're like, oh,
Edgar Allan Poe. And then watching this, we see Joso the butler be like, well, guess I'm out of a job.
yeah. And he goes like, he just says to Goemon, he's like, all right, well, kill me then. And Goemon's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Why would I do?
Because of the code of the samurai. No, I'm not
It's
going
the
to do
code
that.
of the samurai.
Yeah.
It's important.
But we unveil the treasure, which is, of course, a metaphorical fucking treasure.
This is a treasure, all right. It's one to be shared with mankind. It's too big for my pocket, anyway.
It's a fucking sunken Roman city.
Yeah, because the clock tower, when this happens, the clock tower falls down, reveals and unblocks a hidden floodgate, which causes the lake behind the floodgate to lower, revealing a Roman city, which was there all along. It's a kind of ruin. It's very beautiful, all the water and sunlight.
No, it's really good.
sure.
Like, I mean, Ghibli has always been phenomenal.
Not entirely clear what Cagliostro would have done with that.
Well, he didn't know
He
what
would
the
have been
treasure
mad.
was. Yeah.
You would have been pissed off. You'd been like, "What is this?
Yeah,
I can't use
You
this."
also think
100%
you'd
what
know
I'd
that
done.
was there because you could have scuba
yeah.
dived over the lake.
The
or
thing
you'd
about
find
water is
bits
that
of
it's
artifacts, whatever.
See through.
Yeah, also
Probably
that.
see
Yeah.
that it's there. But
There's
still,
no divers ever. Anyway, so
Yeah.
it's fine. Don't worry.
No one's got like a coin washed up on the shore. Oh, it's a Roman coin. I wonder if it's anything under the lake. Apparently not.
Metaphorical. Don't worry.
So Clarice is like, okay, take me with you. I will learn to become a master thief. Unfortunately, that would be too interesting and not misogynistic enough. So Lupin's like, no, you're just a woman. No, absolutely not.
Well, she's like an underage girl who's traumatized.
That's also
I'll give the
true.
movie
Yeah,
that way.
no,
That she clearly has feelings for him, and he's like 30 or 40, and he's like, the scene where he almost embraces her, but then Miyazaki's like, don't do it, and he like pulls his hands back.
It's
like trying to kiss him.
Don't.
It's slightly weird that this keeps happening to Lupin. The underage girls keep
Yeah.
throwing themselves at Lupin, and he says no. This is the second time he's ended a movie this way, and I'm like, dude.
He's like every time he does a bonus episode, he does some accidental
I think in
pedophilia.
the first, hopefully she's like 18, 19. I don't know. It's still weird.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Letitia, right?
Because she wants to go to Boston University, yeah.
She does want to. Yeah,
She wants to go to Boston. She's to study archaeology at Boston University.
But of course, he has to go back to his true love, which is his
Crime.
24/7 brat relationship with Zenigata,
That's
where
right.
he's just like, oh no, I hope no one chases me. Like there is
Oh,
fully
no.
a bit where Zenigata like leans out the window of his car and he's like, I'm back, doing the shit again. This is fantastic. So, and that's the movie, but
Yeah, she goes in for a kiss. He goes for the forehead, and it's just like, right, time for me to go. And then gets in the car while she's distracted. Zenigata's like,
What's over there?
I gotta chase this guy because he's stolen something very precious. He's stolen your heart, and then gets in his car and leaves as well.
bullshit.
The groundskeeper's like, I'm here too.
Hi,
Carl.
He's not even called Carl. That's the dog. We don't know what this guy's name is.
I don't know what his name is.
Yeah. I have no idea.
I've seen
Groundskeeper
this
Willie,
movie
who
like
knows?
30 times. I don't know. That man doesn't have a name.
I'll let you guys have like the last word here, but one thing I will say is that I've enjoyed recording this and talking about it with you guys much more than I enjoyed the movie. I did not care for this as I was watching it. Genuinely, and I just felt like, you know, it's very influential. Sure, lots of people feel a great deal of affection for it. I did not. I watched this and I was like, no, I'm not sure what's wrong with me that I'm not getting it. But I think it's, a facile, childish fairy tale with stilted writing, worse VA, problem with women and tone and pacing, and like 50% of it by volume is just kind of, which I really, really, really hate. I can like see all of the fucking lineage there, but I didn't like it. And that's I feel bad because I want to say, oh, I had a great time watching it, but I didn't. I didn't care for it.
That's completely reasonable. I mean, like, it was his first directorial pursuit, and that's never typically your best shot at something, is doing it the first time.
Only Miyazaki movie I've not liked, which is saying something.
I think I'd have enjoyed it more if I didn't have to take notes. If I'd just been able to, like, take some legal substances and then sit down and watch this beautiful looking film.
It's
let
gorgeous.
it wash over me.
It's gorgeous. The soundtrack's phenomenal. Like, I just enjoyed the boys hanging out, which doesn't really happen for most of it. Which is
not really.
That's kind of the shame.
And those are the only bits where it shows rather than tells, too.
It doesn't really come anywhere near passing the Bechdel test because there are two women in it. One of them isn't a character, and the other is Fujiko, which you sort of legally have to include if you're doing a Lupin thing. And she does most of her like cool things impliedly off screen. But ultimately, I think it's a good movie, and I enjoyed it a great deal because I could see the DNA of Ghibli. Like, I could see that start out, and I did have a phenomenal time. The first time I watched it, I was also on some legal substances, having a lovely time. And I don't know, it's I'm not doing film analysis. I'm talking about my vibes. My apologies. I should maybe do some analysis. But yeah, no, it's I think it is what you make of it, really. Like, I had a good time watching it. If you didn't,
I should have done some drugs,
Shannon, how does this film fit into the kind of wider Lupin and wider Ghibli sphere?
Yes.
It's it depends on if you're talking about to like a Lupin weirdo, obsessive person, or like a normal person, because a lot of people, especially like more like anime dude bro people, really don't like it. And I understand it too, because a lot of like the first is just trying to do Cagliostro again. Like, you have this like really interesting sort of James Bond pastiche character who's very dark and very anarchic, and Miyazaki makes him a hero, and then later on everyone wants to make him a hero, but without the sort of subtext of like he's trying to be a better person. Cagliostro is kind of like his last heist, chronologically. And like a lot of modern Lupin is trying to chase that, and it's just terrible because it doesn't have, it's nothing interesting. It just makes him like a boring hero. Whereas in other stuff, he's much more like spy versus spy, violent. I mean, it's like a universally beloved movie for like a lot of animation people. A lot of people that like Pixar, a lot of anime references it. It's like it inspired a whole lot of people in their careers. I understand the criticisms, especially about Clarice, and I think it's one of those movies that I wouldn't show people who don't like movies that are slower or longer. But I mean, it's one of my favorite films, and I like the thematically, it's sort of about doing right by other people. Or not, he's not like trying to atone for being a thief, but he's maturing, and I like that. But it kind of sucks because it's a really good movie, but other Lupin stuff can be so much more interesting. Like, I like Mamo more, which is just an insane, like, anarchic, violent movie that has Hitler in it, and Lupin like knee-jerk salutes Hitler because he's scared of him. Like, that's the kind of movie that is, instead of trying to make him a hero.
And were there other Lupin series or films made before this, or was this like his first adaptation to screen, or no?
There was a live action movie for some reason, and then Mamo, and then this. It's like a sex comedy that I saw as a teenager. I didn't like it. I would probably like it a lot more now. There's a live action Japanese movie, and then there was like part 1 and part 2 were also before this. That was like early 70s.
They're still making adaptations, right?
Oh, the newest one was trash. It was actually set in Great Britain, and he fought Sherlock Holmes, and it was like the worst thing I've ever seen. I really hate it. It was very poorly received.
Never set anything in Great Britain, I've been saying this.
It was awful. But Takeshi Koike is also making a series of movies that are like grindhouse movies that are like really sexual and violent. And those are... Some of the Goemon's movie is really good, and the other ones are like way too rapey. But those are interesting. That's the only interesting thing that's happening right now, because the mainline stuff it's again the Cagliostro influence. Like, he's like heroic and nice, and it's like, why? Because Abby, you watched a lot of part 2, which is a lot more. He's like an It's Always Sunny character. He's like petty and shitty, and he's a lot more interesting in that.
But he always has a heart of gold, though, which I kind of liked.
I've observed exactly 2, like, East of Lupin, 2.5, if you include the bit of Mama I watched before I decided that I was on too many legal substances to understand what's happening. Like, I've just seen this one and I've seen the first, both of which I watched for a podcast, so I was taking extensive notes. So I feel like I have more knowledge of it than I really deserve to have because I've got like such in-depth. But comparing the two, I do massively prefer Cagliostro over...
Really?
Over the first.
I think the side characters are terrible. Like they're like in Cagliostro, they're very one-dimensional.
How can you say that about Hitler?
Do you want me to play? When I saw Hitler, I stood up and clapped. I got it right.
I think you have to.
Oh.
When Hitler appeared on the screen, I stood up and clapped. I cheered when I saw Hitler.
But the first does have that DNA, the more anarchic DNA, when Lupin dresses as Hitler in a rubber mask, and that he's, that's what makes the franchise more interesting. Which sucks because Cagliostro is such a beloved and well-made movie. I love Cagliostro too, but I also prefer the darker, weirder, like saluting Hitler are just like blowing people up and like sort of evil gremlin Lupin instead of like, oh, he's a hero now because Miyazaki doesn't want him to be,
Yeah. That's fair. I think you're right, Alice, in that there is somewhat of a tonal shift.
About the point that the first gunshot wound is sustained on screen.
The point at which it's been like a lovely romp thus far, and then Fujiko like aces 20 dudes on screen, and you go, holy shit.
Yeah.
So fair enough.
Well, I mean, that's the Castle of Cagliostro.
Shannon, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Plenty of Alcoves. I'm a player on the teenage superhero body horror podcast Critical Bits at Critical Bitcast. I'm on the Fight Together miniseries on the One Piece podcast. And if you look up Fake Friends Parasocial on YouTube, you will find me, my video essays.
Fantastic. All right, everyone do that. And we will return for...
Body horror wasn't included last time you plugged yourself.
Oh, I should have. It is a body horror podcast. Actual play. I play a teenage lesbian ex-villain, and people's heads explode and stuff on the show.
It's good.
I like doing critical bits.
It is good.
And we will return with... I'm not sure what we will return with, actually. Is it Breach?
I think Breach is the next one.
Breach. All right.
Yeah.
Breach.
Gonna see some more Chris Cooper. We're gonna hack, tap, bypass all of these things. In the meantime, thank you for listening, and we will see you again soon.
Thank you for listening to yet another episode of Kill James Bond. And thank you, of course, to Shannon. If you would like more of them, please head on down to the description of this episode where there will be links to all of their various ventures, and I truly cannot recommend them enough. This is where I would typically say thank you for being a patron, but the possibility exists that you may well be hearing this on the free feed. So, fucking freeloader, how about you head on down to the Patreon and subscribe for £5 a month like all of these stand-up citizens have done. Christine Fox, Fawkes Winchester, Paint McCalla, Jack Holmes, George Rohack, Thomas Oberhardt, Yarrick, Carolyn Tankersley, Benno Rice, Max Kapinski, Library Hitman, Kit Devine, Amanda Rogda, Max Gaimanhart, Dread Pirate Robin, Jonathan Gurday, Kentucky Fried Commie, Hell Bloodhands, Jay Martindale, Big Titty Goth Girl, Fremen Commissar, Jen, Sydney Steckel, Tarp O, Trip, Ellie without the E, Mothman, Timothy Pajorni, Saphira Luciferax, Charlie Out of the Closet, Jenna and Paw, Zoe Shepard, Elizabeth Cox, Finn Ross, Turfs Eat Shit and Die Alone, Alfredo, I Make Devon Say This Out Loud, Philippa Smith, Rael Leal, Wolfie, Raised on a Diet, Al Irving, Millie, JM111519, Josh Simmons, Bon LeBon, Lauren Bastin, and Tristram Wolf. Kill James Bond is, of course, Alice, Abigail, and Devon. Our producer is the wonderful Nate Bethay. Our podcast art is by Maddie Lubchansky, and our website is by Tom Allen. See ya.